Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Rimuru's Journey for His Beloved, Arifureta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest, by Sakura Arashi. Chapter 10, Pandora's Box. No, you're not human, he muttered. As he said that, he quietly turned around and started walking away towards the exit. The blonde-hair, red-eyes girl panicked and tried to stop him. Her voice that had not been used for years got blurred into a mutter. Wait. Please save me, the girl said, begging. Nope. Hajime answered straightforward as he continues to walk out. Why? I will do anything. The girl was desperate. Only the head was seen, but her face was enough to transmit her feelings. Hajime responded in a gloomy manner. Oi, you do know this is the bottom of the abyss. There's no way I am gonna free someone that was sealed here for a reason. That would be very dangerous and stupid. Being so coldly refused, the desperate girl raised her voice as she was on the edge of tears. Wait please, I am not evil, I promised. I was betrayed. Before Hajime could leave, he froze when he heard that. 20 seconds passed and he was still frozen. Hajime stood at the doorway with a sour face like he had been bitten by 100 bugs and chewed up one. Hajime started walking back to the sealed girl while thinking, what am I doing? There was no evidence to prove that there wasn't any danger. Being deceived by a wicked being was a highly likely possibility. It was appropriate to forsake her. Hajime sighed internally as kept on walking towards the girl. His heart was shaken when he heard the word betrayed. Hajime scratched his head while he walked up to the girl. Of course, he wouldn't lower his guard. You said betrayed? I don't believe you. Even if you were, why were you sealed instead of being killed? Hajime said. The girl was stunned when Hajime came back. Through her abundant dirty blonde hair, her red eyes stared at Hajime. Hajime got irritated with her lack of response. Hey, are you listening? If you are not going to talk, I'm leaving. As he said that, he turned heel. Surprised, she gathered herself and began telling the reason for her sealing like she was being interrogated. I am a special vampire. I was given great powers. Because of that I worked hard for my people. But one day my uncle betrayed me and became king. I was okay with it, but he saw me as a threat, so he sealed me up because he couldn't kill me. She talked desperately and bit by bit it became dried. Hajime groaned while he heard the story. Seems like the circumstances was full of drama. So what? You're from a royal family. And why couldn't they kill you? Hajime asked. Yes, I am a princess. Automatic regeneration. Injuries heal immediately. Even if decapitated, not just that, I have direct manipulation and could cast without magic formation. Whoa, that's a better cheat than the hero, but I am pretty sure my brother already has all of that. He muttered the last part to himself. Please. Help me. They stared at each other for quite a while before Hajime started to move. He sighed and scratched his head, and put his hand on the cube that sealed the girl. The girl noticed the meaning and opened her eyes wide. Hajime ignored her reaction as he concentrated on his transmutation. Crimson-colored magic discharged from him. His magic had changed after he ate the demons. However, the cube was resisting Hajime's transmutation. It was exactly like the bedrock at the top and bottom of a level. The cube was not completely immune to it. Little by little, Hajime's magic started to erode areas around the cube. You're quite resistant, but, for the present this is nothing. The cube around the girl started to melt, and little by little, she was being released from her shackles. Soon, more and more parts of her got free. Her swollen chest came to bare, then her waist, arms, and thighs. Under those cubes, she was wearing nothing. Even though her body was emaciated, she still had a mystique beauty to her. She dropped into a childish seat after all her body was set free. Her body seemed to lack the energy to stand up. Hajime had poured all his magic into freeing the girl, so he sat down. He started reaching for his potion when the girl suddenly took his hand. The girl clenched his hand. A hand that lacked any power, small and trembling. When Hajime glanced at her, she was staring at him. Her face was in an expressionless state, but her eyes told the real story. Thank you. To this he just had a wry smile and continued to drink the potion. What's your name? The girl asked Hajime with a whisper. Hajime finally noticed that they had not introduced themselves. Hajime. Nagumo Hajime. Yours? She muttered. Hajime, repeatedly. Like she was etching it into her mind as something important. My name? Give me one? Hajime was surprised to hear her answer. What do you mean give you? Don't tell me you forgot your name? I don't need my old name anymore. Please give me a new one. Even if you say that. Her eyes was shining with anticipation. Hajime scratched his head while thinking there was no helping it. He told her the new name. How about you? You, she kept muttering. From where I am from your name means the moon. When I first entered the room, I thought those eyes that shine through your blonde hair looked like the moon floating in the night. How is it? The girl was surprised by the response he gave and just blinked her eyes. As expected, her face remained expressionless but her eyes shined with joy. I love it. From now on I am you, she said, for the time being here. Hajime said as he started to take off his overcoat made from the bear. Here, wear this. You can't just stay naked. There was an awkward silence because of the sudden realization. Yu reflexively took the offered overcoat while she looked at her state. She was really stark naked. All of her important parts were completely exposed. Hajime's overcoat was quickly wrapped around her, while she turned bright red. Yu looked up at Hajime and murmured. Hajime's a pervert. Hajime chose to stay silent, because saying anything would just make it worse. The overcoat was cheerfully put on by Yu. She was only 140 centimeters tall, so the overcoat was oversized for her. Her hands held the hems of the coat with a pleasant expression on her face. Just after Hajime finished drinking his potion, with his vitality restored and his brain active again, using perception, he froze. There was a sense of a terrible demon in the immediate area. The location, right above, immediately the second he noticed the monster, it started to drop down on where Hajime and Yu is. With every ounce of effort he picked up Yu and used his flicker. After barely avoiding being crushed by the monster, he looked back to see a scorpion-like beast. The monster's body was 5 meters in length. It had 4 huge long shear-like arms and 8 legs rustling around. A sharp needle was present on its 2 tails. For Hajime it was safe to say those tails of it was poisonous. Compared to any other monster he had faced so far, this was a lot stronger than. When he entered the room he used perception at maximum but it didn't detect anything. This means this monster was released the moment Yu was released. It's probably here to stop Yu from getting out. He looked at Yu only to see her earnestly watching him, and not minding the scorpion. This was the moment Hajime realized that Yu had entrusted her fate to him. When their eyes met, his usual fearless smile came into being. If he abandoned her who had entrusted her fate to him, he wouldn't be a man. Bring it on. Try to kill me if you can. Hajime fearlessly yelled while quickly taking the potion out of his pocket. Suddenly he grabbed Yu and fed her the potion. Yu's eyes watered at being force-fed an alien substance, but was surprised when her vitality was being restored. Hajime moved Yu from his shoulder to his back with his hand. Her feet were still weak, but it would recover soon. He did not want to fight while having to protect her. Hold on tight, Yu. Her body was far from recovered, but she used the power that returned to hold on tight to Hajime's body with her limbs. The scorpion started to make noise as it advanced towards them. Feeling Yu's grip on his back, he declared with his bold smile. Come at me. I'll kill you and devour you. Suddenly a purple liquid started coming at them, fired from one of the scorpion's tail. Hajime jumped aside at once and the floor he was just a moment ago started dissolving. Acid me mutters. After he looked around and confirmed his surroundings, Hajime discharged Donner. Japan. Donner was shot with maximum power. A bullet going 3.9 kilometers per second smashed into the scorpion's head and exploded. Though the bullet barely did any damage, Yu was still shocked to see a weapon like that. She had never seen such a weapon that could attack at a flash. There wasn't even any sign of magic. Some static could be felt around his right hand, but there was no incantation or magic formula. Yu noticed that Hajime was the same as her. He was able to directly manipulate magic. The scorpion then aimed its tail, then fired. The needle was shot with a tremendous speed. When Hajime was about to dodge, the needle exploded in mid-air and turned into a buckshot. Phew! Hajime groaned as he emptied Donner, swept with his grand kick, and chopped with his air claws. With this he was able to defend against the buckshot of needles. After emptying Donner, he threw it in the air and took a grenade from his pouch. 8 centimeters in diameter, the grenade rolled to the scorpion's foot and exploded, spreading fire onto the scorpion. Hajime called it an incendiary grenade. The reagent used to cause the scorching was the fulham ore Hajime had found on the tar level. With its ability to burn at 3000 degrees Celsius and its easy ignition, it was the perfect choice. The incendiary grenade was almost extinguished as it had burned through the tar. Smokes were coming off the scorpion and it appeared to be damaged, but it had also made it angry. Gah! Using its 8 legs, it rushed forwards fiercely while it screamed. The 4 arms it possessed elongated like a cannon shot and sped towards Hajime. One of the arms he shook off with flicker and another he leapt away from using air walk. The 3rd arm was smacked away with grand kick. His posture was thrown off balance and the 4th arm was about to hit him. Donner was suddenly shot, and using the force from the shot he was able to twist his body to dodge the attack. All those moves put a lot of pressure on you, but she was able to tolerate it and held on. While in the air, he leapt onto the scorpion's back. Hajime was able to balance himself on the raging scorpion's back and fired his Donner at point blank. Zugan! A loud explosion was heard, but even though the monster was shot point blank, only the crust was scratched and no real damage was done to it. The scorpion, now angry, attacked Hajime with both its buckshot needle and acid strike. Hajime knew he couldn't dodge both of them, so with air walk he was able to dodge the acid attack, but just after that he was hit by several needles piercing him in the back. Gah! Any fatal injury were avoided while he screamed. Since Yu was on his back, he decided to take the needles and stop them with his body. When he impacted the ground, Yu was launched off his back. While dozens of needles were pieced into his body, Hajime took out a flash grenade and lobbed it towards the scorpion. The grenade drew a parabola, and flashed right in front of the scorpion's eyes. Kaisha! Blinded by the sudden flash of light, the scorpion instinctively stepped back. Taking this chance, Hajime took a potion and poured it on his back. Hajime looked for Yu while pulling his needles, but Yu found him first and came towards him. Hajime! Yu ran up to Hajime anxiously. Her expressionless was gone, she was ready to burst into tears. I am fine. This scorpion's armor is too tough, I can't think of a strategy to beat it. Despite Yu's worries, Hajime continued to mull over the scorpion. Looking at Hajime, she started to cry. Quote. Why? Why didn't you just run? If he left her, he might escape. Yu brung up the topic because she knew it was possible. However, Hajime had an amazing gaze. Ha ha ha, don't say such a thing. I haven't fallen that far yet. If I left you who had entrusted her fate to me, I wouldn't call myself a man. Yu nodded at him as she understood more than what he said, and she embraced him. Oi, what are you doing? This situation is not time for such a thing. What is she doing? The scorpion was going to recover soon. His wounds had healed. Preparations were needed to get him combat ready. Yu then muttered the words, "Trust me," and started to bite his neck. Hajime felt pain at his neck. There was a discomforting feeling as he felt power being extracted from him. At that feeling, he tried to shake free, but he remembered that Yu introduced herself as a vampire. She was sucking his blood. Yu finally released her mouth from his neck. She licked her lips with a delirious expression. He felt fascinated, though she had a childish figure. Her skin that was previously haggard completely disappeared, and now her skin was glossy like white porcelain. Hajime's delicious, she said before turning to the scorpion. Azure blade, she said suddenly. A pillar of bluish-white flame 6 to 7 m in diameter formed overhead of the scorpion. The giant blue spear directly hit the scorpion on top of its head. The pillar exploded into a flash of light and everything was blinded by it. Hajime just looked at the sublime magic in utter amazement while he protected his eyes with his arms. After the magic was finished, the scorpion could be seen on the ground alive, but its outer protective shell had been cracked. That took a lot out of me, Yu muttered. She might actually be stronger than my brother, Hajime thought. Ha ha, it's okay, I'll take care of the rest. Go and rest, Hajime said. He then jumped up to the scorpion's top side and shot Donner. Without the outer shell protecting it, The bullet instantly pierced the scorpion's brain, killing it. After the scorpion fell to the ground, Hajime approached it and fired Donner 3 more times to make sure it's dead. Yu just looked at Hajime with a happy expression on her face. Hajime doesn't know how long he's going to be stuck in the dungeon, but he was glad to have found someone. Pandora's box was said to have contained disaster and a handful of hope. Apparently, this metaphor he made before he entered the room had hit the mark. Hajime walked to Yu while he thought of